do we use energy healing to promote refined perception. Because if we all had like completely 100% pure refined perception, then we can all just go in and do this work ourselves. And isn't that what this is all about? Yes, the answer is yes, that's what this is all about. So I feel a healing coming on. So so that's a good place to start, right? That we all can directly connect with and access the details, the fine details at the deepest level of manifest creation, so that it's possible to discriminate what's a sustaining wall and what isn't. It's important. And also, everybody should know that when I talk about sustaining walls like karmas that like we came into this lifetime with, I'm actually not talking about something that's completely inaccessible or that cannot be changed at all. Anything can be done with consciousness. But I'm sure we've all known people at some point or another who went through like a really big, huge, major change, and they came out really different. They came out looking different. So that can happen, but you know, it's not always easy. So part of the purpose of this work of understanding in finest detail what's actually happening at the deepest levels of creation is to be able to promote evolutionary transformation with grace, with the support of Dharma, and with the support of the synchrony of creation. The whole universe gathers around to support that transformation so that it's smooth and it blesses everyone. It blesses you. It blesses the rest of creation. All right, refined perception. Let's take a look. So it's beautiful that we have this great stable structure in the center of our group. So I'm just starting with that because that's a foundation that was laid by our collective for the sake of our collective. So we can use that as an anchor. And I'm just looking at it. And I'm seeing that each layer of frequency, they kind of remind me of chakras, sort of. It's like chakras in a great big collective body, so to say. Each one has its own angle of perception on reality. So what that's telling me getting new information here and sharing it directly with you, is that even though we have senses of perception in our heads, and what we think of as refined perception originates from these senses of perception in the head being able to receive information which is finer than the gross information that we're used to receiving. That all the parts of the being are capable of receiving and processing information. So all the way through the whole physiology. So one of the keys to refined perception is breaking open a little bit our definition of what perception is and realizing that the senses of perception are not our only tools for perceiving. And I mentioned before about the heart, but getting some nice reads on the way the whole collective level of the physiology, I think of the belly or the gut area is the collective level of the physiology, because, well, that's where our microbiome is for one thing. That's also for another thing where we break food down to the point that it integrates with the body. So that's that point where we interface with the environment in such an intimate way that we don't really see ourselves as separate from the environment. By the time the apple gets to the gut, man, that's just part of me. You know, so I'm looking at that. This whole time I've been working on refined perception last few weeks, did not see it in the threefold condition that I'm seeing it now. And so I'm just offering to the source of creation that we have these three basic channels for understanding. You can think of intuition as in the gut, like a gut feeling. We even call it a gut feeling, right? That's where we kind of connect to the collective and we understand and get that. You really know what's going on with everybody else. The heart, which is the finest level of feeling. It's the seat of compassion and love and sweetness. It's a seat of feeling for ourselves and for everyone. And then, of course, the head. And we know how the senses of perception go up there. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking these three, I'm offering through my own silence, going into silence, all of us in our silence, and asking the source of creation, what needs to be done with these three areas in order to promote maximum refinement of perception, maximum increase in the ability to receive subtle information and then process it in a very highly discriminative way so that it is understood clearly. Some fear clearing for a few people at the solar plexus area of the physiology. And also for some people, feelings of overwhelm. It's not uncommon in the relative level of creation. Sometimes there's so much going on here. It's like, well, I don't know if I need more. Do I really need more information coming in? So for everyone, that's the first thing, is we need to set up the structure, the fail-safe. So now, do you see what happened? I want you guys to see. We need to analyze what happened because it was very interesting. I had this vision, right? The three parts I'm sharing this, what I'm seeing with you, reflecting off of you, to the source of creation. What happened? I said, can we have a healing for it? Did the source of creation bring us back a healing? No. The source of creation brought us back more information. It said, before we do this healing, we need a fail-safe. We need a way to regulate the information, just like we regulate all the relative information that comes in through our regular senses. We don't want to be overwhelmed. So everyone needs the autonomy to control, to open the door or close the door or open it halfway or a quarter way, whatever is required to actually allow the information to be received with grace. Very balanced, it's very sensible. It's a little slower, but it's sensible. All right, so we're offering that to silence. I'm seeing it. Oh, so beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. Oh my God. Okay. So what we're really talking about, if we're talking about a door that could be open and closed so we aren't overwhelmed, we're really talking a little bit like a wall, right? This is like in the causal field, we have these structures and they have to be there. We have to have structures. Otherwise, if I didn't have structures, I wouldn't be standing in front of you right now. It's because I'm this big that I can stand here and be this big. Otherwise, I would just like all the cells, all the atoms would explode out into the whole creation in every direction. Okay, so we have to have structure. We have structure. We're used to creating structure. So it's like a wall, but it's a wall of Dharma. So what that means is that we receive the information that is aligned with the highest good. It is aligned with, when the Dharma is sitting there, those four values that I talked about earlier, compassion, austerity, purity or cleanliness, and truth. When those four are integrated into the process of perception, then every single impulse to, oh, I think I'll look at this flower now, or maybe I'll look at the leaf instead, right? Like the impulse, even where to put the attention, it's guided by Dharma. It's guided by, and we can think of Dharma as that action which promotes the highest good for oneself and others. I know the definition of yajna is action which does not incur karma. But some of our Vedic experts out there can tell us if Dharma incurs karma, but I don't think it does. I ask I ask, does it? I ask being, does it? Does dharmic action incur karma? Thank you. Nope. The word came up. When the word was here, the word was there. It's so perfect. Beautiful. Right. So dharma has a name, right? Dharma is the name, but when I say dharma has a name, I mean dharma also has a reality at the finest level of feeling, at the causal level of being. The Vedas refer to it as the bull of dharma with its 4 legs, right? I'm making friends with the bull of dharma. And that as a complete, like, visceral whole body experience, because these centers of perception, nadi. Oh, is nadi the bull of dharma? Is that its name? Oh, thank you. All right. You guys are great. I thought Nandi was like the bull that, or was the cow that gave, right? It was the cow that belonged to one of the great sages. Yeah, was it Vyasa or so? Anyway, Shiva rides on Nandi. Oh, okay. Shiva rides on Nandi. Oh, so interesting. So Shiva, okay, Shiva is the energy. If we're talking divine dialogue, this is good. Hence Dharma. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, my dears. I couldn't do this without you. I love you so much. So Shiva represents the part of the process where the relative, which has fallen out of Dharma, dissolves into chaos and finds its way back to the finest level of creation. And from there, because Shiva's riding on that bull of Dharma, that makes so much sense. That is what's stable. That is still stable when all else is lost. And then one comes right back out with that level, that value. When you think of a bull, like that incredible strength and power and just like fierce nature of it's like a bull is like the embodiment of pure power or something. It's so beautiful. So now these 3 centers, now the 3 centers are offered back with Dharma established, So what that means is, for anybody in the group who maybe their centers of perception weren't fully established with this value of Dharma, now by offering it back to being, and when I say offering, I mean awareness goes to the source of creation. Instantly. Instantly while the mouth is still moving. And from there, it stabilizes. So this is Dharma stabilizing in the 3 centers, the 3 points of perception in the physiology: head, heart, and gut area. Intuition established in Dharma, finest feeling established in Dharma, and finest perception established in Dharma. But we need to get more to finest. I would like to see, I want to just check, because I'm checking through the group, doing a little tour around the group to make sure that everyone's perception, clearing fatigue out of the system. There can be layers of fatigue, sleep, and dream deprivation. It can happen. And so this washes, and this is a technology you can use, is that through the naga that comes into the body, a wave of refreshment can come through the physiology, and it literally washes out the fatigue in the system. And I feel along with that some like emotional fatigue, also mental fatigue, fatigue in the eyes, fatigue in the senses of perception. So sweet. And as that wave of freshness, it comes in through the crown of the head, as it washes through the body. This is where we get to this interesting bit that I was just looking at the last couple of weeks. But as it does that, it seems to come through with these very specific structures, very specified. So may your bodies continue to just enjoy that wave of washing fatigue, washing feelings of being overwhelmed or too much, just washing it through the system, washing it through the system. And it goes into the cord of light and it kind of swirls around and it goes back to Mother Earth. Mother Earth is the great composter. She has no problem. You can give her all that stuff. She's like, I'll make something good out of that. Beautiful. This is beautiful. I'm getting a validation. Both my ears just opened up and I'm like hearing twice what I was hearing before a second ago. So may everyone's senses of perception enjoy this washing, to open up, to wash out all the fatigue and overwhelm and trauma, any discomforts of any sort. Also I'm seeing through the joints, because the joints in the body are places where there's sort of a connection between two different bits, or not only moving, but when we're talking about refined perception, we're really talking about a junction between individual experience and collective experience. And so the joints are also receiving, scanning up and down the spine, knees, hips, shoulders. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And what I'm seeing is so sweet, is that the microbiome is rising to support by producing very, very delicate neurochemicals which soothe and smooth the process for everyone. Your beautiful, sweet, precious microbiomes that are in your service through your lifetime are enjoying this. So just sending some waves of love and gratitude to the microbiome, and then back to silence again. The whole thing back to silence. Beautiful. Okay. Right, processed these are the nadis. So yes, because the nadis are those channels through which all that washing energy flows. Thank you for pointing that out. I really appreciate it. It's a really important point that's being brought up here from Ogden in my attempts to maintain people's anonymity, which is difficult for me because I love you so much. I want to like celebrate you, but anyway, my brilliant friend. Anyway, but the point is that when we do healings like this, where light medicines, this would be a light frequency, right? A light medicine or frequency that washes fatigue out of the body. So it's something that originates at the causal level of creation. When it does that, it is carried through the nadis. It's carried, and it actually heals all those forms of creation which are shaped like that. It heals the nagas also, which are responsible for the various systems of the body. So the naga responsible for the digestive system, it got an upgrade. So what happened? It replied back by supporting, like by giving its 2 cents into the healing process. And then all of a sudden the digestive system is geared up and is acting on everyone's behalf, for example. Beautiful. All right.